Hello and welcome back to Rock That Resume. This is part 2 where we'll go over the heading Objective and Education. This is part of the Linfield College IDST 052 Career Planning and Preparation course presented by Donna Montoya. So now that we've gone over how to set yourself up to really start creating that great resume, we're ready to actually create it, and we will start at the very top. And one of the basics of resume creation is knowing that the most important piece of the resume needs to be the most top. So the most important part is actually your name, so they know who they're looking at, which is why we're starting with the header. So your header is the letterhead, and it needs to contain your basic name and contact information. Your name should actually be the biggest and longest part of the header so that it's really easy to identify who you are. The street address is actually optional on most resumes now. Some reasons why you would want to use your street address is that, first of all, you like it and you want it up there. Second of all, if you want to show that you are local to the area, or you have a family member or friend that has a local address that you would be with, that's a great way to connect yourself to the employer. So for example, if you are a traditional undergrad student here in the McMinnville campus at Linfield, and it's obvious that you're here at Linfield, you're here in Oregon, but you're actually applying to a place over in Pennsylvania, and maybe you have an aunt who lives there and you're planning to stay with her, you may use your aunt's address so that they know that you actually have a physical home where they're located. So moving on from the address, we'll go on to the number, and just choose one phone number. Make sure it's the one that you are most readily willing to answer. Always answer with a professional greeting, and make sure that your voicemail is professional as well. Now this is a little outdated, but if you still have any ringback tones, you do want to avoid that. If it's your personal style, put it back on after you get the job. If you do list a cell phone, just remember, try not to answer when driving and try not to answer in a noisy place. We all make those mistakes sometimes, and so if you do answer in a noisy place or it's just not the right moment, it's okay to let the recruiter know that you're really glad that you were able to take the call, you were waiting to be able to hear from them. Is there a time when you could call back in a very near future so that you can have a conversation where you can give them your full attention? Moving on to your email, have a professional email, so not something like the ones we have up on the screen. If you have and you really do use your linfield.edu address, that's a great professional email to use. If you are currently employed and looking to move outside of your company, please don't use your company email address. Use a personal email. So there are many ways to be able to format your header. Here are a couple just for you to choose from if you like any of these examples. So just like in the past presentation, there are a lot of different opinions and preferences regarding format. Same thing with the header. Formatting the header differently is also a great way to get that resume onto one full page or 2 full pages. So it's something that we play around with a lot if you're one line over onto a second page, for example. So moving from the header onto the objective. So like we said, the most important part of the resume needs to be at the top. The next important part is your objective. So what are you actually applying for? And this can be very important if you're applying for a very large company that takes a lot of resumes every day. You want to make sure that it gets to the right recruiting or hiring manager. Now, some people go back and forth on whether an objective is necessary, and a lot of the times it isn't necessary. If it's something that you need to take off because of formatting reasons, or you're applying to a small 5-person company, they already know you, that is up to your discretion. But if you do put on the objectives, you do want to be very specific in what you're seeking. So you want to list the position and you want to list the company. Now on an actual resume, I probably would not bold the words office manager and Damro interior design. This is just so that you can see where they would go in the example. If you were actually looking at a grad program, it would be the same thing. So you're seeking admittance into an MAT program at a certain university, for example. Next, we are going to education. So all of you should be able to put Linfield College as your education for a BA or BS. If you are more than a semester out of graduation, you will talk about how to show that. Here we see expected June 2016. So you state your degree, BA or BS, with your discipline. If you have any minors, you should put them in as well. You do not need to put on your high school or community college information. And of course, there's always caveats. If there's a job connection to that town or that school district, or example, you're applying to a community college, you may put that on just to show personal connection. Or if you have a degree from a community college, you could put that on. So if you have an AA or AAOT, that would actually go below in the same formatting that you'd use for your BA, but below it. Most recent is most important. So here's where you would put expected June 2016 if you are expecting to graduate at, more than a semester away. If you're within a semester of graduating, you can just knock out that expected. You pretty much know if you're graduating or not. This is also a great place for you to list any scholarships that you have, maybe if you have an exceptionally high GPA. The rule of thumb is kind of 3.5 GPA or plus. You can keep it on your resume, or if you're in certain industries, a 3 is really great. Or if you're in certain industries like accounting or engineering, you must show your resume, especially if any application requires it. You'll want to include anything that the application asks for. It's also a great place to put on any educational enhancement opportunities. So if you did a special study abroad or a project or unique research, and it really just feels like it fits under education, this is where you could put it. As you can see in this example, this person did a really great job of explaining the value to the reader of the resume as it relates to the objective or the position you're applying for. So you wouldn't put, if you went to London study abroad, that you got to travel a lot and you lived with a host family if it had nothing to do with what you're applying for. And so this concludes section 2 of Rocking That Resume. Please continue on to section 3 to finish out this presentation. Thank you.